Hey, this is Cam with the West Central Montana Avalanche Center. We are down in the Southern Bitterroot today. So as we're transitioning into spring, we're taking advantage of this clear, calm day and digging a few full depth pits, trying to look at our snowpack structure, just see where we're at transitioning into that spring snowpack. So right now we're on a south aspect. As we were approaching this area, we got a couple of collapses. So we dug down. Our snow depths are shrunk down significantly. We're only about 100 centimeters right now of snow. When we dig down and look, we've kind of got this old crust right here. This likely formed kind of that Christmas rain event and has been buried by January, February, all the new snow. We did an extended column test on it. We were able to get full propagation on the 18th tap. I just took the saw, chopped off a column just so we can take a peek at what's going on. And you know, we do still just have some small weak facets right at the interface over that old crust. As far as the rest of the snowpack goes, you know, overall we're seeing some rounding, some stout slab, but down low, you know, we've got some pretty dry, very weak crystals still in the bottom of our snowpack here. So from a structure perspective, that's a little bit alarming going into spring. If we have some sort of event that causes these to get saturated with water, that could lead to some wet slab activity. So our other issue moving into spring is going to be wet snow avalanches. As we were traveling up here, we noticed that most of the recent wet snow avalanche activity has been on west aspects. Right now we're kind of south, maybe trending a little bit southeast, and there's still a pretty good crust right at the surface. So as far as the timing of these wet snow avalanches, you know, we do have direct sun and not much wind, but before the snow can transition to being wet, this melt freeze crust that formed overnight from any melting yesterday needs to break down. And the timing of that breakdown is kind of a relationship between the temperatures, the sunlight, cloud cover, wind. But generally, the more stout this becomes, the later in the day that wet snow avalanche is going to get pushed to. So as you're traveling around, just be aware if you're starting to see roller balls or point releases, it's a good indicator that this crust has broken down. And once this crust does break down, you know, the dry snow below it, that doesn't take much time to get wet. So once this breaks down, it can rapidly lead to wet snow avalanching. We're going to pop over to a north aspect now and do a full profile, try and find a weak layer that a large avalanche naturally failed on Friday, 2 ridge lines to our southwest. So we hopped over the hill from that last south aspect bit. We're now on a north-northeast aspect, about 8,000 feet. You can see snow depths are significantly deeper. Right here, we're closer to the 155, 160 centimeter mark, and that's compared to about a meter, 100 centimeters, only a couple hundred yards away. A lot of that has to do with these north aspects just been seeing a lot less sun, and so that total snow height has shrunk less over here than it has on those more solar aspects. So we are 2 ridge lines away from where that large avalanche failed naturally last Friday. We're unable to get into the terrain to actually check out the avalanche itself, but this slope has very similar aspect, elevation, and terrain, and so we're hoping we can investigate and find what weak layer that failed on. So digging down, you know, we've got a significant slab above, but about 40 centimeters from the ground, we've got some fist hardness, and these are still relatively faceted. We've done a bunch of stability tests on this though, and we've really pounded on it, and we're not able to impact down here. So more than likely, in order to cause an avalanche on that base layer right now, it's going to take a real large trigger, that being like a large cornice failure, or maybe jumping a snowmobile onto it. Both of those could potentially reach down and trigger it. So with poor structure on all aspects that we've traveled through today, how can we call the avalanche danger low? Well, in part, these issues are really isolated to this far southern portion of the Bitterroot Range. We haven't seen them anywhere north, really, of the West Fork drainage. In addition, we haven't really been seeing a lot of avalanches on it. We saw that one large natural avalanche triggered on this deeper layer on a northeast aspect, but we haven't been seeing people trigger avalanches on those buried crusts on those southeast through west aspects. So low danger doesn't mean no danger. Continue to travel safely through the mountains, only expose one person to hazard at any given time, and ski and ride safe.